guys, welcome back to Theater. My name is Abby and today we're going to be doing our weekly chakra healing video. So I decided after long thoughts, I put a long thought about this, that I'm going to start, let me move this real quick. I'm going to start doing just one chakra healing video instead of breaking them up. And the reason being because I feel like after I do all of them, I get super tired, especially because I'm already doing readings for other people that I want to be able to do other videos for you guys as well, and I just get super tired and then I just kind of just let it go. So I figured if I just do one, then I can focus on doing other videos as well for the week, and then we'll be good to go. So the format of it is going to kind of change, but also kind of expand a little bit. We are going to be working very heavily with the moon, because that's something that brings a lot of the issues to our awareness. So we're going to do a lot of kind of moon healing as well as prep work. I feel like I'm going to literally, and I spoke about this in the last video, I'm going to start prepping you guys for the seasons, for the different seasons, because Capricorn season, it's a really good season to get regrounded, and then Aquarius season is a really good season to work on your crown chakra. So we're gonna do a lot of stuff. But first, Mercury's coming out of it's going direct on Friday, and we also have a new moon in Sagittarius on, well, technically like at midnight between the 6th and the 7th. So it's pretty much, let's just say Friday everything's happening. So it's gonna be a beautiful moon, and I feel like it gives us the opportunity to really do some kind of prep work for next year. I feel like everything December moving forward up until January is prep work for next year. And I say this because you want to go out out of this year with a bang, and you want to start off the next year in a good place. And I feel like this year has been really amazing for me, but at the same time I see where I need to get myself in order in certain things as well. So what we're going to do is, for December, because Capricorn plans first before it moves, and that's why there's a very big difference between, I don't know if you noticed this, between the December Capricorns and the January Capricorns, because January Capricorns still have a little bit of that Sag energy kind of interplaying in there. It's two different caps. But for the most part, there's a part of the December Capricorns that just want to kind of have fun a little bit more than these January ones. The January Capricorns are a little bit more serious, as we are. We're a little bit more focused. We're a little bit more Capricorns, I would say, as far as per the book or whatever, than the December ones. The December ones can lean more into the Sag, playful, energy a little bit more, and so it's hard to prep when you have kind of this energy, but it's still necessary. So as we're in the beginning of December, and we will be going into Capricorn soon, we're basically, I want us to go into it strong. So we're going to do a little bit of prep work as far as what we want the rest of the year to look like, because we end in Capricorn and we start in Capricorn. That's how we start our years, so we need to do it correctly. So for this Sag moon, as far as healing goes, we're gonna see what comes up in the cards, and I'm gonna just start shuffling. But I feel like this week it feels like it's different already. I mean, Mercury's in Scorpio, Venus is in Scorpio, and it feels different. So let's see what happens. So what is our blockage for our root chakra for this week? What is our blockage for our root chakra? Ooh. What is our blockage for our root chakra this week? What is our blockage? First card, the Sun. Still the ego, huh? Okay. What is our blockage for the root chakra? Ace of Wands. How can we best heal our root chakra? Oh, that came out fast. Okay. Oh my god, okay. How can we best heal? The Tower and the Ace of Cups. This is fun because this is 2 aces in the block. Okay. What is our blockage in our sacral chakra this week? Blockage in our sacral chakra this week. Temperance in reverse. Okay. What is our blockage for our sacral chakra? Do you see a little pattern here? It's a little bit of impatience there. No? Yeah, just a little bit of it. Okay. How can we best heal our sacral space this week? Oh, okay. Queen of Wands. How can we best heal our sacral space this week? Oh. 6 of Cups in reverse. Okay. What is our blockage in our solar plexus this week? Wow, that is not. So our ego is doing some things this week. So blockage in our solar plexus. Ooh, okay. So Mercury retrograde is really wrecking some of you guys. I can see in communication. Okay. How can we best heal our solar plexus this week? How can we best heal? How can we best heal? Ooh. Oh God. How can we best heal our solar plexus this week? So that's two of these guys. And how can we best heal? It's not too shabby. Okay. What is our blockage in our heart chakra? Hold on. I'm getting attacked out here. Getting attacked. And then everything just started falling. I'm like, okay. So another ace in our blockage for our heart chakra. Okay. We're going to talk about it. Whew. That's our, ooh. Five of Wands. How can we best heal our heart chakra this week? How can we best heal our heart chakra this week? King of Cups in reverse. Okay. How can we best heal our heart chakra this week? Page of Pentacles in reverse. A lot of patterns that I'm noticing for this week specifically that I think is very, very interesting. Okay. What is our blockage for our throat chakra this week? What is our blockage? Four of Wands. What is our blockage for our throat chakra this week? What is our blockage? Oh God, okay. Hold up. King of Wands. In our blockage. We have a lot of really interesting cards in our blockage space. How can we best heal? But this is ego. This is also ego. Okay. How can we best heal our throat chakra this week? Best heal our throat chakra this week. Okay. I said it was an ego. I told you I was an ego. Okay. What is our blockage for our third eye this week? I just don't understand. Okay. What's our blockage for our third eye this week? Blockage for our third eye this week. Okay. 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 I just got a message for that actually. Can we best heal our third eye this week? Can we best heal? Okay. Okay. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because there's a huge theme here. A huge theme. What is our blockage for our crown chakra this week? What is our blockage? Okay. How can we best heal? Okay. So, I'm going to say, these are the Chakra best here. We're going to talk about it. Literally, the crown is 4 major arcana. I think that's really interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Hierophant and the King of Pentacles, Taurus vibes, as well as a lot of vibes that we're going to talk about right now. So, hold on. Just move this real quick. Fix this. So, for our root chakra, what is our blockage? If you cannot see that this is ego, then this is ego. I'm just going to tell you that it is. So this is a lot of ego work that it's kind of, but like I see it all over the entire reading. There's a lot of ego coming into play as far as ungroundingness. There's maybe an opportunity that would actually make us happy that we actually didn't take because our ego is just not in the place that it needs to be. And so we're missing out on opportunities and missing out on something that actually might be good for our growth or path on a longer term because of our ego, because we are a little bitter, because we do not want to accept this gift from the universe. We want to stay focused on it's like we're trying to keep as much control of the situation as possible, and because we do not have the control, it turns into a hot mess. And this can kind of really what this is. And I feel like we talked about ego last week, but it keeps coming up. And I will tell you one thing, like ego work, not healing your ego, not working on your ego, it's one of the things that if you do not work on, you will actually be not only very miserable, but it's like you'll have to keep repeating the lesson because your ego, not only is it wounded, but you're trying to pretend like it's not wounded, but it is. So you're going to have, what the universe is going to do is going to keep sending lessons to that wound, sending salt to that wound in order to eventually trigger it to like actually shift into something else. Shift into something else. That's the key word right there. There is something that it literally came as an opportunity for you to be better and improve somewhere. But what ended up happening was that the ego got in the way, and it was just like, no, but you know what, whether it is that you think you're better than it, or whether it is you don't want to give in to somebody else's, I don't know, like if it has something to do with somebody else having the upper hand over you or whatever the case may be, the joke's actually on you this week, because it's actually a good opportunity for you to take charge and for you to actually have the upper hand instead of giving it to somebody else just by playing on your ego. And so what that does, the best way, as far as what the best way to heal it this week, we have the Tower and the Ace of Cups. And this is really saying to allow yourself to feel and process your emotions about the situation, because your ego is getting triggered on an emotional level. And because we have gone through like Scorpio season and have dealt with all of this kind of transformative death releasing work, if your ego is the one thing that you did not release, even though it's toxic, then you have a big problem ahead of you. And this is going to come up to play in some of the other, I already see it on the table, but I'm just bringing it up now. That's a huge problem. This Ace of Pentacles is just telling you to be, not only to be humble, but to let yourself succumb to your own healing, to your own, like, okay, you have these wounds. You need to just be there and be in that and then heal these wounds. You can't just be like, nah, I'm above that. I'm better than that. I can't, I'll be fine. You'll be fine. Whatever. You can't do that, because the universe is going to keep sending you these Tower moments to trigger these overwhelming emotional transformative events. And so that is unbalancing our root chakra, because we are not grounded. Like the ego in this, it's definitely the solar plexus, and we're going to talk about it there, but it's really important to have a strong foundation. And because our ego is not in a strong foundational place, it is coming, like, transforming it is coming from a place of toxicity this week. It's just not good. So this is a really good time to get yourself sorted when it comes to accepting things that might not feel oh so good about yourself. The other thing that this reminds me of is Mercury being in Scorpio. I have been watching people get exposed by themselves. Literally this past weekend when it shifted, I was like, I just kept having conversations with people, and in those conversations I noticed that somebody would get mad at me about something. Like, there was this one person that got mad at me about something. Actually, no, there was a couple of people that got mad at me about something, and while they were explaining to me why they were mad at me, they were like exposing themselves and then catching themselves in that same moment. So I was just literally just sitting there at that point. I hadn't done anything to them, but they were offended about something. Like, I guess I was placed as a point of a trigger in some form of or way, where I was placed in the right opportune time to bring this to awareness to them in some way, shape, or form. And so when they were saying like, you know, you're not responsible for my feelings, you're not responsible for like me feeling this way. And it was just like, while they were saying it, I could look at their face and they were just like, what am I saying right now out loud? What am I speaking right now? Why am I saying this? Like, when they actually had to process what my part in whatever it was like, wait, you technically have no responsibility for this because you didn't actually do anything to me. It's just that I feel this way about myself, so the conversation went on like that, and I was just like, okay, I guess I'm just standing here, but I'm witnessing the thing, so I guess that's what I'm doing. So that's kind of the way that came out, and it's really like, Mercury in Scorpio is gonna trigger that, especially while it's in retrograde. It's like, wait, you're gonna catch yourself in words. You're gonna catch yourself like healing mid-words, which I think is very interesting. Then for our sacral space, our blockage, we have Temperance in reverse and the Eight of Wands. Talk about like impatient Aries energy, and we're going to talk about that with the solar plexus because the Emperor came out. But this is Sag in reverse, so this is a really good week to kind of heal that with this moon coming up in Sag. But there is an impatience happening in our sacral space where we want something, or we want it now, we want it soon, we want to see it, and that impatience is like not working, because yes, we do manifest from this space, but when we don't give it time to transform, time to appear, time to be revealed to us at the perfect divine timing, what happens is that you get blocked because you're not using that space properly. The point is to keep it in balance, not to keep it constantly like every 5 seconds you're manifesting something and it's appearing in front of you that's not how it works. It needs to still be in balance. You still need to have that flowing good. You still need to feel good. You still need to be good. Best way to heal that this week, we have the Queen of Wands and the Six of Cups. So there is kind of a very much disconnect between I want to say socially and just coming back to our power. That's the Queen of Wands is asking us to like really come back to our power, really come back to our space. This is back to manifesting, but also paying attention to how things grow, how long it takes something to come to pass, how long it takes flowers to grow, for example. It takes time. Everything takes time. We've talked about this, especially for the root chakra, because everything doesn't manifest in 5 seconds. But there is a need to kind of disconnect from others and come back into our power this week, in order for us to be grounded. And this might be by not, when it comes to relationships, not giving your sexual energy to others, but instead giving it to yourself. This is not really the week to be out here kind of, I would say, hypersexual with other people. This is a really good week to work on your self-love, self-care practice, and give yourself that love physically. Your body needs to feel it. You physically need to feel it. Others do not deserve that right now. It's more about you. You need to come back to your power by giving yourself that love, that which you would want to experience. You need to give it to yourself first. That's what this is telling me. There's like a lack of it. There's like a lack of power. There's a lack of balance. There's a lack of patience. Even when it comes to like orgasming, you need to like get to the point where you're at that peak. You need to build that up, and that's the whole point of that. So I would say practice a lot of self-care this week when it comes to your sacral space. For the solar plexus, we have the Emperor and the Six of Swords, so in reverse. So this is what I was talking about, ego, because the Emperor even though that's like a very Leo thing. The Emperor, the Sun, when insulted in Aries, is actually at its best. It functions the best out of all the other placements that it can be in, besides Leo, obviously. So there's a lot of ego work that comes from Aries energy, and kind of working in the speed. This is a very also impatient speed. This is literally, these two cards are pretty much just, these two things are like literally the same thing, because we have fire and we have fire of mind. But this is a very impatient kind of energy, and in with the Six of Swords in reverse, it's kind of like being stuck on a loop, because you're not actually moving forward, you're kind of getting stuck behind, but then you kind of want to move on these like retrograde ideas that you have been getting, which is not necessarily a bad thing unless you have been moving from a place of ego, which is what we've been talking about. There is a very egotistical thing happening this week where it's just like, if somebody came to you, and or like whether your ex hit you up or something, and they were just like, you know, I wanted to talk to you, I wanted to I feel this way, I want to speak to you about this, and we are actually blocking that conversation from happening out of ego. If we are saying, you know what, I don't want to have this conversation with you, I don't want to, like, if you're just like, no, 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 instead of seeing the opportunity of healing in that situation. And if you haven't read my How to Heal, 3 ways of how you can heal through Mercury retrograde, it's in my blog. I will put the link of it down below if you want to read it, but I actually did talk about this kind of situation happening. This is an opportunity of healing, and just because our ego, as far as it getting wounded, if we have a trauma with this person, we still need to allow healing to take place by allowing these conversations to take place in the first place. So if you are feeling like, oh my god, you know what, no, I'm above it, I don't want to talk to this person, I don't want to be around this person, I don't want to have this, whatever the case may be, you actually need to just look in the mirror and have that conversation. Because a way to heal that this week is to allow yourself to address your wounds, allow yourself to release that mental trauma which has been hidden in your mind throughout the time that it's been building there. It needs to be released, and the way to do that this week is to really have those uncomfortable conversations. Don't block yourself out to the things that need to be said, the things that need to be done, just because your ego is telling you that you're already above it, when obviously you are not, because the situation is already presented itself in front of you in order for you to deal with it moving forward. For our heart space, we have what is blocking our heart space is the Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Wands. So there is kind of with everything else that's happening, there is something physical that we do not have that's kind of really pissing us off, whether that be money or whether that just be something physical. But it could be others, it could be a work situation, it could be a more stable like home environment, it could be a more stable business, like more steady full-time versus part-time work. It could be having some kind of work issues as far as like not getting along with your boss and them not giving you the raise that you deserve. This week is coming up as a blockage in a really weird way, because this is kind of like, this as a blockage, it's really weird in the heart space. That's what I personally think, because what this is saying is like, one, the heart space, okay, your heart space deals with a lot of different things, because it's the midpoint between your chakra space. So it requires, that's a lot of the time, even though your trauma's in this physical point that you are now, right now, your traumas are held in your sacral space. Your past life's traumas are held in your heart space. That is a midpoint. That is where like the little wounds are. And so it kind of, this is something that it's like, you actually need to look into your chart to see how this energy is coming to play for you, especially with this Ace of Pentacles, because it's like, there's going to be some of you who are going to be seeing some frustrations based on things that you've planted seeds in that you have not seen fruit, because of whether it was like a past life trauma, whether it was like some sort of karma that you're paying back to, because you had this conflict in a previous lifetime or in this lifetime. It is coming up heavily this week as far as a blockage, because it's not, it's like, it's not something that it's, you can see the physical repercussions of it in this lifetime, but you can't understand why it's there, if that makes any sense. So your ego is like all over the place, right? And then your heart space is like, why do I have to keep going through this? Why do I get stuck in this situation constantly? Why? And you're asking these questions that is like, well, the problem is, this is a recurring theme. This is a recurring lesson that has to continuously be handed to you, because you have not, it has not been addressed, and so you're still paying the debt of this karma. The best way to heal that this week, we have the King of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. This is really feeling like the heart space for me has been like all about past lives for me for the past couple of weeks for you guys, as far as the readings go. And this is exactly what this is saying, with them being in reverse as well. There is kind of a lot of imbalances, emotional imbalances, that it's also imbalancing our money. The way we address it is by addressing these weak points, whether it's like you're looking at your chart and you want to get a reading, or you want to get to know more of your like what else you can do to heal those spaces, whether you want to get Reiki done, whether you want to do a sound healing with the intentional purpose to heal that specific lifetime that's coming up for you, that it's constantly pricking at this wounds, telling you to heal it. Whatever the case may be, there's something very deep there. This is like, King of Cups is very deep ocean energy, and it's something that's been running under the surface, that it's just been playing its toll on the physical realm. This is why this is coming up. This is on the physical realm. You're seeing the repercussions of the lack of healing and the tension that's been building over time there. And it's really about taking control and taking the next steps and being conscious of the next steps that need to be taken, instead of moving from a place of ego, as per the rest of the reading, moving from a place of strength and moving from a place of just curiosity, tapping into that Sag energy. Instead of wanting to be super quick about getting the solution, actually be trying to balance yourself out on an energetic, on a spiritual level, because that's really what's coming up for me hard for the heart chakra. There's like a lot of trauma bubbling underneath the surface there. For the throat chakra, we have the Four of Wands and the King of Wands. So again, this is a lot of ego energy. But the thing is that the King of Wands is not grounding energy, which is why the way to heal that, it's like pretty much, it's very similar, but this is ego right here. The Knight of Pentacles comes through to say, hey, you know, you still need to work on your root chakra. You know, like, hey, work down there. You need to get down there. In order for you to be, your will to be so strong that you can manifest stuff like this. It's very much about getting your ego in order by getting yourself grounded. And this is very much a humbling right here. This is like the way a Virgo is humble throughout their lives. This is a very much a Virgo humbling. Instead of being a flashy, this is a Leo humbling. This is a Virgo humbling. This is not really humbling, but this is a Virgo humbling. With your throat space, there is kind of this showing too much, doing too much, being too out there this week that's blocking our throat space. We're not able to project properly because there's an imbalance of kind of our willpower, and that could be because of this, because of our, you know, solar plexus is not really in the best place right now. So we have like this overwhelming fire that we're using that we kind of are not using properly, and so it's just kind of like a hot mess. Especially when what you want is not necessarily, this is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. But what happens is that when the ego, when you're moving from a place of ego, you can't, how do I put this? When you're moving from a place of ego and you have an unhealthy ego, you can't manifest properly, you can't make friends properly, you can't be blessed properly, because even blessings become feeding the ego instead of being like abundant experiences, and for it to be like, oh wow, you know what, that happened, I'm so grateful, and being grateful and humble. That's not what this is. This is the opposite of that. This is very much a overly flashy situation, where instead of it being like imbalance, where you internally, emotionally, you feel good and you're also grounded, it just becomes kind of like an overuse of power. That's really what this is, an overuse of power. And it's like when you overuse your throat chakra, especially this week, what's gonna end up happening, especially because, I mean, now that Mercury moved into Scorpio, you're gonna find that you're gonna kind of have to address the humbling, because Mercury in Scorpio still like I said earlier, it's gonna show you your truth. Where Mercury in Sag was very much a little bit more fiery, Mercury in Scorpio is a little bit more like, but are you here? But are you here though? Like, Scorpios don't have to be out here telling you that they feel great or are great and they have all this stuff. Like, they're very private anyway. This is a humbling of the ego that needs to happen with this kind of shift here. And it might be the way you're communicating, it might be what you're communicating. You'll be kind of teaching yourself lessons while you are speaking to others. You'll be able to understand why you're saying certain things, what is rooted by, and that just has to do with paying attention, instead of it letting be just overwhelming fire where you're just trying to stay on the lighter side of things but not actually paying attention to what you're saying. There is a lot of ego work happening this week. It's kind of ridiculous. For the third eye, what is blocking your third eye this week? We have the Queen of Cups and Judgments. So the message I got earlier for this was, for some reason, I thought of the ancestors, and I thought of like somebody's grandmother just wanting to communicate something to somebody, but for some reason they could not, and it could have something to do with the fact that we're very, very much ego based this week. It's definitely there. But there's something that's calling you backwards this week. This is a communication. This is messages that need to be said, and this is specifically coming from the ancestors this week. There's something that they need to communicate to you that they cannot deliver, whether or not because you don't have this chakra opened or because you have not been putting in the work with your ancestors. There is communication that they need to say. Whether it's a warning, whether it's help that they want to provide, whether it's healing that they need that you have not been helping them with. They need something this week. They need to nurture this week. There's a nurturing. They want to reach out, but it's like they're not able to completely because whoever is not putting in the work, you just got called out. I'm just saying. The best ways to heal that this week, we got Death in reverse and the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And this is very much confirming what I just said, because Death in reverse telling you to go backwards. There is this grounding energy. The ancestors are really coming into play and saying, hey, listen, we need you to kind of hit us up because we have some stuff that we need to communicate to you about where you're going, about the healing that needs to take place, about your about the family, about like where you're at. Like, we need to support you, or we need your help with something. There is definitely a need to communicate with the ancestors this week, so do the work for the third eye. That's really important, especially because they're coming out hard. So for our crown space, what is blocking our crown? We have Justice and the Wheel of Fortune. So you are getting dealt some karma. You are getting dealt some karma this week, and it might be that's why the ego is coming into play a lot, because also the moon was in Libra earlier today, and then it moved into Scorpio. So good day to do some healing work, guys. I'm just letting you know. But there is a lot of karma that's been dealt, and a lot of it has been happening in front of you, but there's been like a denial process for some reason. There's been a lot of denial. There's been a lot of like just trying to make things seem like, oh, just life just got a little bit hard, or I just hit a bump on the road. No, there's karma that's being dealt this week. There's something that you're paying for, whether it's this past life situation that's happening here, or whether it's something that you did earlier that you're just needing to pay the price for. But there's karma that's happening here, and the best way to heal that this week is to really jump on the opportunity, be present in your healing. Be present, because what you need to understand is that is all to make you stronger, is all to help you grow, is all to bring you peace, it's all to really make you the best person that you can be in this lifetime. And the best way to do that is to really jump on this journey and take the ride, take where you're going. Don't like sit in your ego, but say, okay, you know what, this came up, so okay, this is the download that I've received, whether it was through this retrograde, because there's a lot of messages in here, whether it was through this retrograde, whether it was through like people have just been presently giving me the same message, whether I've been seeing the same sign continuously, whatever the case may be, take the sign and actually put it to work, do something about it, because long term is this, you're going to be using your skill, you're going to be putting yourself to work. It's all to get you to this point. You're going from the Fool to the Magician, and don't forget that that is the true journey of the Fool. The true journey is to get here. The Fool is the 0 card. The Magician is the first card. Why? Because this is the goal. If this is the best way for me to explain is to you is very Capricorn way. We don't climb the mountain right here. We don't climb it without having a goal first. This is what's on top of the mountain. Okay, this. And so we look at this, the Fool is looking at this as the goal. So it's going on the journey to get to this place. And that is who the Fool wants to become on the long run. That's the whole point for the Fool, to become more empowered, to come within its power. So let me pull an oracle card for us for this week. This is a really good week to do some sacral healing work, because the moon is in Scorpio right now. Also, some solar plexus work as well, especially during this Sag moon, for sure. By the time I come back next week, the moon will be in Capricorn. And you know I love me a Capricorn moon. Messages this week. Ooh. Okay, we got two. We got 2 cards, Rescue and Intention. So, let's look at Rescue, which is 16. Okay, you are always safe and secure and free to be yourself. Asking for help isn't easy for many successful people. However, that's what you need to do now as you expand your life. If you find yourself troubled, you can expect help with whatever issue is at hand now. You need only ask and assistance will come your way. This is the ancestors, by the way. The most important support you can expect is from spirit. Get into a right relationship with the divine, and you'll see that many conditions light up as if by magic and provide you with all the help you need. Asking, you shall receive. There is no need to fear. Safety is a place within. This is the ancestors. We talked about this for our third eye, and it's actually really cool that they came up in our third eye, because it's a very much like hey, this is some divine help that we're trying to send you. So ancestors are, whoever is watching this video, you're gonna need to do some ancestor work. Intention. Deliberate, clear intentions have the power to change the world. Your objectives will be fulfilled at this time. Inspired intentions are like magic arrows shot into the sky. The universe is bringing you a gift, showing you that you're hitting your mark. Recognize that you're not the one who has to do all the work. However, others will help you to co-create reality. You connect to the power of your intention, sending it out into the field, then allow for synchronicity to work its magic. Perhaps the good intentions of others will inspire you to send out beautiful ones of your own. Own the life you want to lead and live deliberately with clarity and detachment. So that is this week's reading. I will see you guys next week. There's going to be a couple more videos coming up this week. I might do something for the ancestors, considering that we have so much ancestor. This is a very ancestor reading as far as like they really want to help you guys this week, so maybe I'll do something. We will see. But for the most part, I do have an ancestor series on my channel if you need to go through that and do a little some for the ancestors. Yeah, I will see you guys next week. All my links and stuff will be down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.